got the chill beats, coffee chill beats, lo-fi, work study, royalty free, the main part. Let me pause that. Okay. I don't know if you can tell, I got a new microphone. Hopefully this makes the quality better and more listenable. I am here to go over a couple updates with Pup Status. I've added a couple more features I think will make single game analysis amazing. Obviously, this is an endless build, lots of stuff I can add in, but I think it's getting close to, like, my opinion, one of the best ways to select your players on any given week with some sort of visual cues. Some people are fine with spreadsheets and green and red cells, but that's cool. I like it. That can give you a lot of information, but maybe it's more fun to do it this way. And this is kind of geared towards single game DFS, but it's 100% applicable for any player you're looking for. I like the single game stuff because you just get to analyze and really dig into one team in their history. And the odds are greater for success. And it's just kind of a fun way to play. So anyway, let's tap in, show you the new features. So I've added a couple things. I don't know if I went over rushing gap information. This shows you the offensive preferences in terms of where they will run the ball. Looks like the Chiefs are pretty good up the middle on the left side, but they like to come around the edge there. And then if you didn't see the last video, I've also got the average depth of target, and then also which side of the ball or which side they like to throw to. And then I also added in really quickly their tendencies for throwing. So the Chiefs throw it to their wide receivers 48% of the time, 32% of the time to tight ends, or you know who, and running backs 18% of the time. So that is kind of a nice stat. I like this one. I did this as an overlay so you can kind of see what's going on. So they like to throw to the right side 41% of the time. And should the season start today versus the Detroit Lions are kind of thin at right cornerback with Mosley down, who's kind of their top guy at that position. So they are going to take advantage of that side of the ball. Assume. Doesn't always happen that way. It's football. They could just opt to kick field goals every time. You never know. So that's a little feature that is kind of an update. I've added a couple things up here. I added what field is going to be at, the date, and then, if I really get into it, I'm going to probably add weather information and then ultimately odds. But, a lot of these stats actually cost me money, and I'm trying to keep this free. It is possible with the history information I'm providing, I might just have to charge for that specific data. I don't want to. Maybe ads and then a little donate button to skip the ads. We'll figure this out. I am trying to make this very useful, and I'm not here to make $1 billion, but I do got to cover server costs, which are costly after a while. Anyway, I also straightened up the select game. So I put every team here in alphabetical order. It was a little disorienting before, so it repeats itself because obviously the at or versus side will also be on the left-hand side, but you can just choose any team. At least you can get to them quickly. Now that's in alphabetical order. So having said that, let's load up a game and show off some of the history stats. So not only do the players have a history against a team, so here Daniel Jones against the Cowboys, you can click on this little history icon or clock, and it'll show you what he did on what date. So on 9/27/22, he had 37 pass attempts, 196 yards, no touchdowns, 1 interception. He rushed 9 times for 79 yards. And then on 12/24, you have your set of stats there. You click the little back button to go back. And players in their respective positions will always have, if they have a history against this team, I'll show that. So you can see Sterling Shepard, 10 targets for 49 yards. Maybe that makes him more likely this year to get targets again. Obviously we're sifting through the preseason, and we're going to have a lot of additions, as well as some people that are kind of high on rookies and whatnot that probably take away from Sterling Shepard. He's also just getting kind of old. But anyway, I'm not going to really get into particular game analysis here. I just want to show off the features. Okay, so those are individual player histories, which is fun to look at, see how well they performed against this team. As of now, it only goes back one season. I'm going to try and get historical up to 5 years. Again, this crap costs me money, and I'm not making any money off of this, and I have the fees, etc. So I'm going to sort this out. I'm going to get you guys what you need, and we'll just go from there. So now the fun one also is if this little history icon shows up in the game. Not every team has played every other team within the last year. So that's not always going to be an option, but the Bills and Jets have certainly played each other, being in the same division. So you just click on this history icon, and now you get each game and their general stats. I'll be outlining this. There's so many more stats to add in here, but I feel like these are like the main ones that you can go off of to kind of determine, game flow. Because I'm putting quarters, you could see if it was a huge gap, and then the other one just got a bunch of junk time points, or whether or not it was kind of a close game throughout, and then therefore you can kind of gauge how the statistics mattered for those particular games. But so anyway, you get your team quarter 1 through quarter 4. Sometimes there's the 5th quarter if it was a tie game. That'll kind of mess my formatting up currently, working on that. The final score, and then you get your rush yards versus TDs. So Buffalo, didn't mean to do that. So Buffalo had 134 yards rushing, 2 TDs. The Jets had 174 yards rushing and 1 TD. Buffalo had 205 yards passing, no TDs, and the Jets had 154. And then I also have sacks and interceptions. So 2 sacks for Buffalo, 0 interceptions. And this refers to their defense. So it would be sacked if it were applying to the Jets, but this is how many sacks and interceptions they created, not on defense. Or I'm sorry, not themselves being intercepted or sacked that many times. I hope that makes sense. So that's kind of it. Just like I said, clean this up a little bit, added these little features. And I don't know if we went through these. This is just kind of rush and pass distribution tendencies. These are all 2022, 2023 stats, which obviously will be updated and fresh once the new season starts. But we can go off of this at least to get some sort of idea. Obviously, where coaching changes happen, this is going to disrupt a lot. There's a lot of good articles about what to expect. We can assume the Jets are probably going to stay somewhat pass heavy now that they have Aaron Rodgers back there. But, they did have a coaching change. So those stats are going to change. And then on the defensive side of the ball, where their tendencies, where they get attacked, and how well they do against wide receivers by their rank. So they're pretty much on the line of talent versus points allowed. But some teams allow more points to lower ranked receivers than others, and they blanket the top ones, meaning that's just kind of how their scheme is set up to subdue the top guy and let the second guy run loose, or some teams are vice versa. Like against the Bills, taking a top tier receiver, you're likely to do pretty well, at least according to this chart. Sometimes not, but likely you can have a big game. I think the 65 is Jefferson. So yeah, those are kind of the new features. I don't know if you could tell I put a little bit of a perspective on this. I thought it looked kind of cool because it matches the background at least. But I futz with this stuff all the time. Hopefully me changing that around doesn't disrupt you guys. As always, all these buttons are kind of the same. The player watch, this is just kind of a quick view of who's injured, who's out. And if you click the little com, you can see what's going on. Anyway, I hope you can find this thing useful. Feel free to email me. I'm at yasha@pupstatus.com. And I always look forward to hearing from anybody with any input or any requests, whatnot. Like I say, I want to make this an awesome tool. Am I looking to get rich off of it? Sure, one day it would be nice to sell it. But in the meantime, take advantage of what I'm putting out there, because this is quite an investment of time on my part, and I'm just offering it up at this point for nothing. Thanks again, and I hope you have a fantastic day. Watch some preseason games, see what's going on.